Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. Welcome, karibuni sana, to this session, which is sponsored and hosted by Laundry Business Learning. Laundry Business Learning is a platform that offers content, online courses, and community support for laundry business owners around the world. So feel very welcome. Before we proceed, a little housekeeping. We have a chat box where you're welcome to participate. Kindly share with us your comments. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us where you're coming from. Secondly, let's all be respectful of each other. Let's stay muted for the duration of the session and in a way that will benefit all of us. The session is recorded and may be shared with participants after the session and may also be used for promotional purposes. As always, we like to say we are not experts. We are here merely to exchange with the community based on our experiences and learn from one another. So if for any reason you're going to make a business decision, as always, we say try and lean on professional counsel, whether that is an accountant or a lawyer, an engineer, as the case might provide. I can see a number of us are still joining us. Welcome, Anne. I see a gentleman from Ghana. Welcome, welcome. We look forward to engaging. As I mentioned, feel free to jump in on the chat box, share with us your expectation. Even as the session rolls on, kindly share whatever questions you may have, and we will do our best to attend to all of them. We'll also be sharing some links on the chat, useful links that are intended to expound on the subject of the day. And we also have a poll question. So it's a very straightforward poll question that touches on the topic of the day. Kindly share with us your feedback, and our speakers will also respond to that. Today we are discussing hiring as an engine of growth, as an engine of sales. Would like to hear from you. Tell us what your thoughts are. And we'll be hearing from my colleagues who will take a deeper dive and talk to us about what their experience has been in this laundry space when it comes to hiring for sales. I'm joined tonight by my colleagues, Elizabeth Irongo, Irene Otieno, Cynthia Gidaga, and my name is Sam Wanyoike, and I'm very, very excited that you could take the time out of your day to be with us. You can check out the bios on the shared screen of the people who will be talking to us. Now, as I introduce our first contributor, my colleague Irene Otieno, would like to just maybe set the stage and get a very brief understanding of what does customer service look like in the laundry space. So Irene, as I welcome you, maybe over the last few years, talk to us, tell us what stands out for you, and when we are thinking about hiring for the attendant or the person who is customer facing. These are business owners who want to know and learn. Tell us what has your experience been over the last few. Welcome, Irene.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anyuke. That was such a great introduction. My name is Irene Otieno. I am a customer success specialist at AML Laundry Limited. I am very passionate when it comes to matters concerning customers, because in customer success, we are not only interested in the business part, but also in the long-term relationship. Just like customer onboarding, staff onboarding is very important, and it plays a very critical role in our businesses. Even at our homes, we do have staff onboarding. Let's say like when you're hiring a new house help, a new manager, you get to do some due diligence. You get to set some ground rules here and there, and a strong foundation for both of you. So staff onboarding is a very critical aspect in your business. I recall a while back during one of my branch visits in one of our locations, and there was this customer who had attended our branch along Milimani branch, and while the customer service representative was serving her, She was having this client who had just lost her husband to the COVID-19 virus 4 years ago. And she had come to collect some of the late husband's garments as she was dropping some for cleaning. So to the world, the husband was normal, but to her, the husband was still alive. So at some point, she broke down at the counter, and I saw how the customer service representative handled that situation. She showed her that the husband was still alive, and that kept the customer strong. They went through the orders as usual, the pre-cleaning inspection that we usually do at the laundry, especially at the counter. The customer service representative even asked her if we can go ahead and do some repairs on the late husband's garment. And the customer responded by saying, yes, please. She likes them that way. He likes them that way. So as they were inspecting the orders, as they were going through the trousers, they even found some cash in one of the late husband's trousers. And the customer was like, oh, we are rich. You could clearly see that she's holding back. So to Sam's question, empathy amongst other skills that we have tackled deeply on our learning business platform is something that we do not take for granted when it comes to dealing with customers. So I'll briefly talk about on the importance of proper staff onboarding and how it helps the customer, who is the consumer of your product. The very first one, it creates a very positive first impression. Customers won't have to worry about how the new hire will treat them. Customers won't be worried if their preferences are going to be taken into consideration. If you've been into laundry business, some of these people are very busy, so they don't have time to keep on repeating their contact number, their contacts, issuing their numbers. They don't have time to keep on repeating their preferences when it comes to pressing of items, ironing, if they need a repair done, if they need a button replaced. Those are some of the things that they expect that we already have them in our database. So they don't have to keep on repeating, and also how they'll be treated, professionalism, the way you approach them, good morning, Mr. George, and so on. So these are some of the things that are very important when you're hiring during the staff onboarding process. The second one, it reduces the risk of churn. Customers are comfortable, they'll feel at home. They'll continue using your services because they won't feel the need to move on to a competitor. And a competitor could be someone who has just opened a laundry next door or another business next to you. So, and we also in the laundry business, we've seen a competitor that people don't talk about, but that house manager back at home, that is your greatest competitor. Because this client might decide, okay, I don't need to move to a competitor, but I can still do my laundry at home. My house manager can do this. That washing machine at home, that's your greatest competitor. So how do you ensure that the customers still continue to do business with you? The last one, but not the least, it creates trust. This is someone that has trusted you with their garments. We've seen some of these people bring their most expensive suits. Someone has trusted you with all that, and they're not only bringing you their suit, they're bringing you the entire house to be cleaned. For us who do the home pickup and delivery services, these clients have welcomed you into their houses. And by someone welcoming you to their houses, it means they've welcomed you into their family. So that is something that you do not take for granted at all. So also another thing, they've welcomed you into their inner circle of friends. So the moment they have that suit on, the moment they have that dress on, and they walk into their office or they attend a function and someone asks them, where do you clean your suit? I like the way it looks. I like the way it is pressed. So such clients won't hesitate even to mention your name at all. So those are some of the things that really stand out when you're doing the staff onboarding. To dive deeper on staff onboarding, I will invite Elizabeth Rongo to take us through on what it takes to bring in the right hire through the door. As a human resource manager, Elizabeth, how do you ensure that you hire a competent person? How do you ensure that you have the right talent coming through your door who will not only see the customer satisfied, but also make sure that there is growth when it comes to sales? Elizabeth.
Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Mr. Samonyoike. Before we dive into Irene's question on how we ensure we hire a competent person for your business, there are a few things I would like us to look at. For a start, maybe we walk a path of the business owner, you and I. Have you ever looked at things that are happening around your business? For us, we can look at a few questions that we can help us understand what you are going to talk about. One, it's for our business and our hire. Have you ever looked at your hire and you wonder where you went wrong? Maybe they ticked all the boxes, but something is not right with them. They don't have the energy, they don't have the charisma that you want in your business, that you have seen it maybe somewhere else, and you feel like you can uproot the person who have served you from another business and you plant them in your business because you have felt the service and everything. Also, the aspect of you leaving your business, does it make you feel like you still need to monitor it, or you have attended a meeting or a special engagement where calls keep coming in for you to respond, and only to step out, you find that it's a customer concern or something that the person you have left at the business could have handled so well. You feel like you had equipped them so well. And also maybe the last one, you have trained this person for maybe a few months, and you expect them, they're in a position to drive sales and then maybe push engagement with customers, but they are not doing it. You feel like they are not completely in it. If these are your concerns, I welcome you to this wonderful session where we'll have this critical conversation around our businesses on how to welcome new competent people in our businesses. But before we dive in, allow me to look at it with these two dimensions. One, from the business, and the second one from the people's perspective. In the business, you as the business owner, you and I, do we really understand why we are hiring, why we are bringing these people into our businesses, into our organizations, and why are you starting this business? Of course, I would narrow down to four. And I'm very sure you have walked this path and you have experienced it. You are hiring for growth. You don't want to keep being stagnated. You want to have a larger market share with the rest of the businesses. The second one, you want to grow your revenue in terms of sales. The third one, you would like to see you are retaining customers and also retaining the staff. We would understand as we proceed, not only retaining this staff and that affect the sales of their business, the customers to get attached to these people that you have planted in the business. The last one will be the ability of your business to thrive away from you. Basically to run on an autopilot. You don't have to be there physically, you're running it and everything. Now to proceed, different people look at different qualities. You understand from a business owner's perspective, so many people come through your door and you are the first person, you are the first point of contact with them. You get to view them before you introduce them to your business and to the team that you have. That means that you are the architect of your business. You get to mold it by the people that you're bringing in to the business to help you in the achievement of your goals and maybe the success of the business. So what do you look for? Different people look for different qualities when it comes to this. But for this session, I would like us to focus on two qualities. the skill, that is the soft skills, and the experience part of it. We can maybe look at the skills that's especially for the customer facing role, and it's good to note for those who are joining us, who are starting out, and those who have already scaled up or they had started earlier, they would understand that in the customer service or the customer facing role, sometimes it's associated with younger people who are looking out to try out new things in life. And you tend to find the turnover rate is very high. And also it's associated with people who are trying out. They are straight from school. They want to join something to find something for themselves. Or sometimes they view it as transitional job. Like I'm literally here, I'm holding on for 6 months or 1 year before something comes for me that I can move to, also to sharpen their skills. So what skills are these that people in the customer facing role, especially in the laundry business that we are talking of, look out for? Allow me to dive into quite some few, starting with the customer focus. We understand when you start this recruitment process, the people that you interact with, you have to try and drive and try to pick as much as you can these skills of customer focus. Are they calm? Are they patient? Sometimes you find you are dealing with customers who are already dealing with anxiety. Sometimes we deal with private garments. You have to make them relax, know they're in the right place. We do this is our work. Please let me serve you. The ability of the person that you're introducing your business to help your customers feel at home, relaxed. You have to find it among the people that you're bringing in or those you are recruiting to, for you to enable your business to achieve this. They also have to remain composed. Sometimes customers come agitated, they are angry, you did something to their order, to their garment, you are late to deliver it, you have not kept your word, maybe you have power disruption, you forgot to communicate. The ability of the person that you are bringing in to hold that customer and calm them down plays a very big role in the customer facing, and which takes us to the next skill, which is communication. We would understand that sometimes we tend to bring people who cannot even communicate literally, but they are enabled in other ways. They can write, they can do some other stuff, and you find them, when it comes to communicating whatever the customer wants, they have that challenge. So how do you get this information from the person who is seated in front of you, who you are trying to orient into a business? You ask questions. The minute they sit in front of you, you just warm up with communication. So show them how things are done. You get to understand if they can clearly understand what the customer is saying, and you understand that communication is just not that talking. It has to be active listening. Can they articulately listen to what a customer is trying to understand? I need my garments folded. I need you to work on this stain. And since the person at the counter is not the one processing those orders, they are maybe transported or shipped out to another branch or they are processing area. They need to communicate that information clearly. Also, they have to be friendly and professional. We have seen visit a business where you are served with utmost casualness, that somebody does not even recognize you with respect. There's so much casualness. Are they in a position to serve your customer professionally? Can they draw the line between personal relationship and professional relationship? Those are the things that you get to look into, the people that you are looking into bring into your business. Moving forward, you go to the other skill, the problem-solving skills. Is the person that you and I are looking to bring into the business, how are the analytical skills? How is their critical thinking? Are they able to think on their feet? Like, I have a situation here. What am I dealing with? What do I know? What's the best what's the best solution I can give in such a situation before even I escalate the matter to the person who is next to me or my team lead. Such things allow you to know whether you can independently move away from the business or you'll be constantly be reached out by this person, by this representative to answer to questions, to solve problems. But in real sense, you need somebody who you can trust even with your brand. They can speak on your behalf in solving the concerns of the customer in case of issues. They don't have to keep reaching out to you. The last one will be the expectation. Most of us, we are in the small businesses or we are seeking to start. And even for those who have already scaled up, they will understand that sometimes expectations differ. You bring somebody into your business, but the expectation are way higher than what the business even can support. I'll give an example with the salary expectation. You find when you are starting, you don't have such a huge budget. You don't have such a huge budget to support somebody who is asking for this. So if your expectation and her expectation are not alignment, you have to draw the line. Either you make a decision, you're not proceeding, because if you proceed knowing very well that the expectations are not in alignment, eventually they'll have to drop, and it's rather disappointing when you have spent time, the resources, the energy, sitting down and sipping through all these candidates, then they pass on of both along the way. The second item that we are going to look at, which is the experience, a very exciting part of it, the recruitment and hiring for our business. I would maybe perhaps ask my colleague Irene a question to start us off on this experience versus experienced. Perhaps Irene, you can take us through maybe your thoughts on if you were to choose between two candidates who are equally qualified, but the only differentiator is the industry experience. Maybe we are looking for somebody with experience in the laundry industry, but they have an experience from another industry. Who would you go for and why? Welcome.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for that question. I'm here thinking that if you were to ask me this very same question some years back, I think my answer would have definitely be different from now, because I would have definitely picked the experienced person. Because at that point, I wouldn't want to go through the process that you're talking about, the training and all that. But now with experience, I have come to appreciate the importance of seeing someone grow, of seeing someone coming from 0.0 or 1 to 100. And I can give an example. I can give you an example, Elizabeth. We have this customer service representative who has been with us for 2 years as we are speaking. And by the time this customer service representative was joining the company, this is someone that was very naive. This is someone that was always nervous. Her confidence level was way, way low, Elizabeth, in ways that, and by the fact that she's on a customer-facing role, this is someone that could not face the customer comfortably, could not even pitch for any product, could not ask questions. Anything that was required from her was not as per. But now with the proper training, with the proper guidance and the standard operating procedures that we have in place, these are the things that assisted her and did guide her along the way through the one-on-one sessions that we usually do in our branches. The one-on-one sessions, just to getting to understand them, their weaknesses, how can we assist them. So these are some of the tools that have helped such a customer service representative. And as we are speaking, Elizabeth, she is the best performing customer service representative that we have. When it comes to sales, she's the one who is excelling. And also right now, she's a role model. She's the one who gets to train our new buyer. that comes into the company. So the pride that I have as a leader, the pride that we have as a company, just seeing someone blossom right in front of you. These are some of the things that we don't take for granted, Elizabeth. That's my take on that question. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Moving on to the experienced versus the inexperienced conversation or discussion on our new hires. They all have their merits and demerits. We'll start with the experienced. The experienced ones are fun to work with. One, they take little time training, less time in training them. You just orient them into the business. They know the do's and don'ts. They are used to this. Maybe they had experienced it somewhere else. And most of the time, you find these are people maybe who have moved from other laundries. They have come to try your laundry. So you get to find they have interacted with maybe the system, the procedures, they know how to handle customers. Through this, you find they have built very high resilience through the experiences they have been with. You find that they are very high productive because they have learned to build on the experiences that they have. They know how to handle customers, they know how to calm them, they know how to escalate issues, they know how a customer who is demanding, who is angry, is supposed to be looked at it. These people, you find them, apart from being highly experienced, they know around their way around the industry. So you find them very fast to get things. They save you on training resources, your time. And you find, for us, if I can share an example for us, we usually, once you onboard, as we onboard you into the business, we put you under training for a whole good month. But for the experience, you find by the second week, they are ready to be allocated a branch. But what you are trying to do is to orient them into the business deeply. You are trying to connect them to your business and to whatever you want them to achieve. They also come with disadvantages, knowing that they have been around the industry or quite some other companies or businesses. One is that they come with they tend to have this uncorrupted, they tend to have corrupted culture. They have picked this culture from this one business to another. And when they come, you find it is not easy for you to train them or to orient them to what you want them. It becomes completely difficult for them to detach whatever they had initially been practicing. The other one, they come with high demands in terms of compensation, flexibility. And if you are starting out, you find that along the way, you get to have a lot of conflicts with them. Moving on to the inexperienced ones, just like my colleague has explained, it's an exciting journey with them. You get to see somebody bloom, they get to flourish underneath your eyes and through your guidance. Like I've said, that till the training, it's 1 month. You pair them with a person who is experienced, you put them there, they are shown what to expect through. Once they are in there, you release them to the branch or to the shop independently. Maybe for you as the business owner who is starting out, maybe you're starting small, you have one location, or it's you who is dependently who is doing it. Maybe you can learn from experience what we have seen. It's good you stay with this person that you are bringing into the business, even if it's for 1 week or 2 weeks. Get to observe how they are doing these things. How they are welcoming your customers, how they are handling their items. You all know in the business of the laundry business, we get to deal with the dirty linens, with the dirty items. And sometimes you find they are not even kind to these orders, to these client items. They needed something to pass by with. And how they are handling these items will tell you a lot. Also, you get to mold them to the culture that you want them to embrace and embody in your business. You have started them with honesty, respect, and professionalism. That's what they are going to embody along the journey. The other one will be that they have high high engagement level for them. These are people who are eager to work with you. They have excitement. I'm looking forward to earning my first salary. So I'm giving it my all. I'm embracing opportunities that are coming. And like the experience that we shared, whenever you pose them or you bring an opportunity to them, the first question they ask is, what is it in for me? Are you going to top up something? Are you going to increase my salary? Those things. This lot gets to be highly and easy to engage because you find they are easy to embrace this opportunity without asking too much. They also come with disadvantages. One is that they are high turnover risk because what we had discussed earlier, the expectations, having that we are dealing with dirty linens, the people perceive customer service differently depending on how you had explained it. Some perceive it as I have to come in, sit down, welcome the guest, do some filing, and then go. Then here you're exposing them to dirty items, angry customer, and some people are wired differently to deal with anger. That's where the turnover risk comes. Also, they take more time to train. Their learning curve tends to be steeper. And thus, the more mistakes that you get to see in the business. So you have to be there, paying more attention to them, monitoring resources. You have to be patient with them. Ultimately, from experience, what we have learned along the way, the decision that you choose, it affects your business in one way or another. So we usually or normally advocate or encourage a person, you as the business owner, pick or go with the decision that's or the choice that fits your business and caters for its needs. Moving on to our next item. Our next item, which is culture, on how we are onboarding these people to the business. You already have hired them. They are ready to join the organization. They have said yes to the offer or the agreements that you had with them. So how do you embody them, onboard them to the business that you have? For those who are joining us from the other side, the business owners, those who are looking to start out, onboarding is literally means you are bringing them to the business, introducing them to their culture, your beliefs, their way, your core values that you have set out for your business. And to kick us off with this part of our discussion, allow me also to tap in to the customer service experience through Irene and maybe ask a question. Irene, from the customer service perspective, how do you think or what are your thoughts around the role of culture in succeeding the customer we are talking
about? Thank you, Elizabeth. What a session. On how the role of culture plays along into seeing the customer succeed. From us, and with that question, I've recalled back in high school, our history teacher used to remind us that no culture is superior than the other culture. And I've always kept that in mind. So whatever we are sharing here, you might find it useful, you can use it, and so on. So to us, we have quite a variety, like team building and during our monthly meetings where you get to share a lot. But the one that stands out the most is during our in-house trainings. This is the time that we bring in the customer service representatives across our 9 branches, and also we get to bring in a team from our workshop team. They get to experience, or they get to share their experience back at their branches, because someone who's serving in a branch in Milimani is totally different from someone who's serving a branch in Kikuyu. These are totally different clienteles that they're dealing with. So they get to share the experiences. And also, if someone is having a challenge at the branch, or maybe someone is having an issue on how to to handle maybe an angry client, on how to handle maybe an indecisive client. This is the platform that we get to experience. And also, if we have a branch that is well performing, because we have branches that are doing extremely well and extremely good, Elizabeth, and we get a chance to pick that branch to explain to the rest of the team how do they do it. If their customers are happy because of their prompt communication, if customers are happy because of the way their items are being packed, if customers are happy because of how their preferences are being put into consideration, now this is the right platform for us to share. And at the end, it's the goal is to make sure that the customer is happy and satisfied. Those are my thoughts, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. For most business owners, once we recruit somebody, they have joined the business, sometimes we feel it's the end of us, the burden has been relieved off our shoulders, I can go and chase other things. But apart from the skills that we had discussed earlier, you find that there are others that you need to follow up on when you have onboarded this person to your business. Maybe to mention a few, how they are adapting to their business, how they are collaborating with the team that they have found. The team could even be with you. How are they collaborating with you in execution of the duties that you have said? Sometimes you find you have maybe requested them to do something, but they're still waiting for you to come and show them on, and yet you have put them through training. So how do we onboard these people to make sure the skills that we picked earlier, the qualities that we had highlighted earlier, are aligning or are gelling well with the team that they are going to find out or they are going to form? You find that to find this effective team, there are things that you must do. You as the business owner, for those who are starting out, for those who, like us, who have already scaled up, they have certain departments that cater for that. In my case, we have the HR department that executes and oversees this through introducing this team member to the team that they have found out, through introducing them to the colleagues and pairing them. You also find that you have to look out for ways to enable them to be part of this effective team. Somebody will ask, how does an effective team looks like? I will refer you to a project that was conducted by Google some years back, a very good project on what comprises the effective team. They came up with a project called Project Aristotle. You can go and check it out. Very helpful. It has helped me and the rest of the team in guiding the team to scaling their success. So how do we onboard them? You look at when you're onboarding them, this person needs clarity. They need to understand, where is my role starting and your responsibility ending. You as the business owner, you also have your responsibilities, maybe in providing the resources, providing training, additional training whenever they request for that. You also have to make them know the policies and the processes that are needed in this business or in your business. If you offer this clarity to them and the expectation, and also you have to highlight if these expectations are not met, if these roles and responsibility are not executed as per our agreement, what are the consequences? At this point, this is when you get to explain to them all this. You also get to put them through training on what to expect, like we had said. Through training, in our case, maybe you would allow me to refer to whatever we do on our side. We pair them with a person who is more experienced in a branch that is more vibrant, where we know the customers are more likely to express these situations. And sometimes you find that you have to find a way to expose them to this situation, like dealing with agri customers, maybe handling delays, handling maybe accidents, because you didn't hire this person for you to be there in the business throughout. And the last one that I would handle it will be a document that I'm very passionate about. document that every person who is starting out on business, you business owner, you and I know, there's some aspects of it that you need noted down, something that we call the standard operating procedures document. It gets to dictate to the person and guide them how they are going to execute these duties and responsibilities that you have done. I love using an example with baking. Most of us love baking, and in baking there are things that you must have and you must do. And for the standard operating procedures, you tend to find that it is in three categories. You have the task, we have the process, and the standard. For the task, I get to using the example of baking. We can use you're baking a cake. And for you to bake a cake, you must have that process. You must have your baking things, you must have the oven, you have to have the ingredients. And the standard one, you must have something I called a must-have. For that cake to be a cake, there must be flour, there must be fire and everything. That complies with that. If you open your business at around maybe 7, 8, indicate it on that SOP, even if it's a small paragraph that indicates you have opened the business at 7. By 7, I expect you to be on or in your uniform. This is the right shoes. If it's a t-shirt, I need it to be informal t-shirt, not the t-shirt maybe from somewhere else you have picked it. This is how I want the customers addressed. It's a good morning, sir. How are you? You have come for a pickup. You are dropping. Show them. This document creates sustainability even after training. This is a very deeper aspect of this document. It has been intensely discussed in our online laundry business learning platform. Maybe I can refer you there. Please check it out. You may want to check it out. And moving on, allow me to conclude with motivation of this staff, of our employee. How do you motivate this member of staff, the employee, to achieve the goals that you have set out for your business? How do you keep their morale high? How do you keep them energized? I will look into few of them that most of us that through experience have worked for us. You find that oftentimes employers seem to think that everybody is after that huge bag, the money, but experience has taught us or is teaching us that not everybody, yes, of course, money is the thing, but there are other things aside that they need. Things like you find they need reward, they need a positive working environment, they need a proper career progression process. They need to understand how they are going around about it. But for this one, allow me to just concentrate on two. Someone said, if you want to keep your staff or your employee motivated, they used a quote that says, a motivated employee is the heartbeat of a business or a successful organization. So you have to cultivate it with care for the whole team to move forward. To my points that I'm going to discuss, which is the recognition, most of us, the business owners, you and I, we tend to focus more on the negatives that are happening around the businesses that we have. We tend to focus more on the things that are not going right, and we tend to concentrate on them with this member of staff that we have introduced in our business. We tend to forget the positive that are happening with them. Maybe somebody has closed a sale. Have you congratulated them? Have you appreciated them for the customer who commented about how fluent they were when they were explaining the service or the product? What you are literally doing, you are building a psychological safety around them and also building trust, such that when you are ready to give this, feedback, maybe the negative feedback or negative criticism, they are in a position to receive this feedback without feeling the need to defend themselves or to justify themselves. you have already created that channel for them to accept this feedback with a lot of positivity. I will conclude it at that. And at this point, allow me to invite Mr. Wanyoike, who will take us through the how he thinks around measuring success for staff, and maybe share a few tips on how to drive address referral and sales for our businesses. And since he has been in the business for 20 years, I'm very sure he won't lack some few tips here and there on how maybe comparing how hiring for one branch and 10 plus or 5 plus is different from how it was then and now. Welcome, Mr. Nyuki.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. I continue to learn from you. Thank you very much for that insightful bit. I listened in as Irene was talking about her colleague who came in a very gentle way and has grown to be one of her better performing salespeople. And I looked back the 20 years that you have referred to, and I wondered I just wish I had that person when we were starting, because at the beginning at location 1, that was hardly the case. In fact, the thoughts and feelings I look back at right at that point were disappointment, a lot of grief. I recall starting the first location, and you'd get a good hire, you'd get a good attendant. There's that assumption amongst business owners. Sometimes we assume the colleague that you have hired can see what is in your mind, can see what is in your vision. And we failed that on very, very many levels as far as sales is concerned. And that went on for a while. I even recall trying to open a second location, which failed in a most spectacular manner. And this was largely due to the fact that we did not have the supporting structure that we have had described in this session. We did not have anything that looked like an SOP. We did not have anything that looked like a definition of frequently asked questions by the customer. So each time the customer came, they were more or less exposed to a very different experience. And that is hardly what you need when you're looking at long-term retention. So we continued on that trajectory. And along the internal conversation, we felt it needs to have structure. And it is only upon taking those first steps and building upon the SOP that Elizabeth described that we started seeing some sense of consistency in the customer experience, that we started seeing a foundation upon which we could now start saying, you know what, let's talk sales. Let's talk about the model that we want to push as far as sales is concerned. We want a commission-based structure. We want a retainer-based structure. What exactly does or should our sales model look like? And slowly that frustration began to, dissipate. We started onboarding people who actually appreciated the fact that we had documentation. And like my colleague alluded, you really don't need to have a very elaborate thing. Even 2 paragraphs that spell out how you open, what you say to the client when they come, and generally how you inspect the garments. A very basic start is more than enough to get you going. And at this point, and through the years, we realized for that laundry customer, if you're going to sell them and sell them properly, there are 5 dimensions that you want to think about. They are applicable even in other service sectors, even in other industries, but within the laundry space, we find that they do take a certain rank, and the client tends to value them in a very specific manner. If you're going to push sales in a very deliberate way. The first one, of course, is reliability. And within the laundry context, when you talk of reliability, you're talking of your ability as a business owner to deliver an outcome for the client that is free of defects. Meaning you're not delivering items that are creased or with missing buttons or mix-ups or losing items altogether. You are delivering an outcome for the client that is consistent. And your ability to deliver this each time goes a long way in establishing the trust that this client requires to become a returning customer. The second one up there is responsiveness. Your laundry client really values your ability to respond promptly. And as you're hiring, you need to sensitize your attendant to these realities. Whether that communication is by way of a text, a WhatsApp message, an email, a telephone call, Your client needs to know that if they place a request for an item to be delivered or to be picked or a certain alteration to be completed, all that is not only well understood, but effectively discharged. The other one, my colleague Irene spoke very articulately too, and this is the idea around empathy. And she shared with us a very good example at the beginning of this session. The fourth one touches on assurance, or what some people call product knowledge. When you're onboarding your client, if really you want to entrust them with that role and have them sell as if it was you, the business owner, selling, you want to ensure that they are armed and equipped with the appropriate knowledge. And at this point, we're not just talking about the conversations that go on at the branch. You want them to be absolutely sensitized to any question that may arise along the cleaning process, including the technical bit. You want to expose them to content around stain removal, to content around which fabric gets processed in which equipment. You want to sensitize them around just general fabric care and understanding why fabrics are cleaned the way they are cleaned. You want to expose them to information around the kind of documentation that is required in everything, including dispatch, so that they are armed, and each time the customer raises a question, they are best placed to respond to those inquiries. The last one has to do with the physicality and the physical environment around which your attendant will be operating. Is that laundry store clean? Does it look presentable? The orders that are maintained there, are they chronologically placed? So that when your client comes, they are not investing 5, 10, 20 minutes waiting for their order to be retrieved, or vice versa when their orders are being booked. These are the small elements that push trust and a sense of confidence within your clientele, and the willingness to even return for a second, a third, and a fourth visit. And still on that physical component, you want your attendant to really look the part. And my colleague Elizabeth has spoken to that, especially when it has to do with matters uniform, matters how they present themselves. Do they look like they're physically? Do they project that statement that they can be viewed or deemed to be custodians of the cleaning profession? And those 5. If you structure them around an SOP and around a framework, it becomes very easy to build upon that. Whether you are driving 1 location, 5 locations, or 20 locations. It is that basic premise that allowed us to say, you know what, I think now we have gotten a very basic structure on 1 location, and now we can consider putting up a second location. But if you don't have that foundation, and that's why I believe the first part of this session invested a bit of time in just building the foundation, then you expose yourself to the turnover risk that Elizabeth spoke to, meaning no one will come and really stick. You want retention being maintained on the part of the client, and at the same time, you also want retention to be maintained on the part of the employee. So that's how we went about it, to your question. And we continue to see success through the years. We also relied and leaned on some content, including a book I remember, I think it will be shared on the screen, which talks about the E-myth. This book really unpacks, and funny you mentioned, Elizabeth, when you spoke about baking. The book actually leans on a lady who was a baker, and it uses the story to unpack what her technical competence was in baking, but how she moved away from being a really gifted baker to now setting up the structures that were necessary to take her business to the next level. It's a widely reviewed book. I encourage any business owner or anybody who is looking to get into the business to consider taking a look at it. We really leaned on it, especially early days, transitioning from 1 location to 3 to 5 to 7, and so on and so forth. I can see we are getting a couple of questions. I encourage the audience to continue throwing them in. In a very short while, we will jump into that. But before we do, allow me to just get a little specific around what does it take to get prolific in selling, and specifically within the laundry business. As you continue to grow talent, like the lady that Irene gave the example of, you will notice that over 6 months, 12 months, a big part of their personality starts shining through. And a lot of business owners sometimes say, I've given you 2 months these are your targets. If you don't hit them, then we make a quick decision whether to replace you or to stay on with you. And we advocate to allow people time, because no two people are gifted the same. And if you are seriously talking sales, once you allow somebody sufficient time to gel into your culture, to gel into your SOPs, to gel into your way of doing things, you'll start to pick out different things. Some people subscribe to the idea of some people being hunters when it comes to selling. Others are deemed to be farmers, depending on their personality. Typically, your hunter is the person who is very quick on the draw. They will identify a customer. They are very quick with needs assessment. They will get into the items that my colleague spoke about, the items that Irene spoke to, including what is your cleaning situation? Do you have a domestic manager? Do you have a washing machine? Are you cleaning with my competitor? Is price an issue for you? They will quickly do a need assessment and identify where the opportunity exists for them to pitch their sale. And these people are generally gifted in that sense. They tend to be more transactional than relationship oriented, as opposed to your farmer, who is more of a long-term kind of a colleague. This relationship-oriented person will generally take a longer time, but it is not lost on you or lost on us that they also have their potential for selling. And I could use an example of a tactic or a technique that we have used in the past, and it's worked very well, whereby once a client comes and is onboarded for the first time, and they come and collect their order, this is the very first wash. We will allow a period of about 7 to 10 days before we place a call to them. Typically not a text message, but a phone call. And it could be random. You could pick a bunch of clients, or you could actually say, you know what, I'll be calling all my clients after 10 days after they pick up their first order. And this call is so critical for the first-time customer. In fact, we call it the 90-day campaign, because we believe that client will make a decision between 30 and 90 days on whether or not they are going to stick with your service. And when they call, you can appropriate values from this call at 3 levels. The first level is that this call is unexpected. The client was not exactly seated somewhere, maybe working, expecting a call from their laundry service provider. So when it comes, it's unexpected. It's a huge opportunity for you to differentiate yourself. And I can bet you they don't get this kind of calls every day, not just from laundry service providers, even from other service providers. They'll rarely get a call, especially after value has passed, consideration has passed. The transaction was already concluded, money changed hands, and then you're there calling after 10 days. Even the client, the impression they would have is these people not only think about the transactional point in time, but they're actually calling to see how they did. And in that call, you show up, you're like, hi, Mr. Patel. This is Irene calling you from the laundry. If you have a minute, I just wanted to find out if our cleaning met your approval. And that's it. And it's a huge opportunity for you to differentiate. At the second level, if there was a gap, say, for example, you didn't press the garments right, maybe there was a delay, you didn't deliver them on time, maybe there were instructions, you were supposed to fix something and you either overlooked or for whatever reason, it was not done. It's an early stage opportunity for you to fix that. And if the issue or the gap is reversible, you're able to get in and plug it. If it's not, you also have the opportunity to tender your sincere apology and to see what you can do to make amends. And this, again, is early stage before the client makes a conscious and cognitive decision that I'm not going to deal with these people anymore. The third, and what we imagine to be the most profound, is the opposite. Meaning, if the experience was good, or even if it exceeded the expectation of the client, that point in time, 7 to 10 days after they collect the order, the visit is still fresh in their mind. And you want to engage at that point and solicit your referral at that point. To our experience, it's the fastest way to compound your referrals. You want to get in on that call, and that point when the client is raving, telling you, Irene, I have cleaned my shirts with very many service providers. They have never been delivered in this manner. They look almost as good as new. You guys delivered the laundry in record time. You guys gave me value for money. I was able to put all my laundry in one bag and it was cleaned. It's a much better deal than I get with your competitor. At that point, you want to get in and ask for a referral. And we say when you're asking for a referral, try not to be general. Be as specific as you can. You want to get in there. You want to leverage your digital tools. For example, you may ask the client, I can see you're happy about the service. Thank you very much for the kind feedback. Would you be so kind, or would you mind if I shared with you a link to our service? Perhaps you could share it in your family group. You could share it in your office group. And going back to the colleague who we said is relationship oriented, this is the personality that you want for this role. This is not the role for the hunter. This is the role you want for the person who is willing to slowly work with the customer and take feedback over an extended period of time. And what tends to happen is once you leverage a digital tool like that, you're moving from one customer, they put your information maybe on a WhatsApp group, and that generally tends to compound much faster than the transactional one by one by one. And many other tips that we could get into, only we may not have the time opportunity right now. So those are some of the examples which we have seen coming to our aid, and it's the direction that we generally took, moving from 2 locations to the locations that we have today. And as my colleague mentioned at the start, we are speaking, and on the laundry business platform, we normally speak to laundry business owners. These are people, men and women, who are looking to invest in the early stage business and then allow it to run on its own. Typically, some people talk about making money in your sleep or allowing your business to run on autopilot, but the basis on which that happens has to be right. You have to create the conditions necessary. And that is just 1 or 2 tips that we have found to work for us. We get deeper into this selling conversation on the laundry business learning platform, and I'm happy to talk about that a little later if the Q&A so deems. But those are some of the practical aspects of selling that we have found to work. A lot of times I ask business owners, how do you drive referrals? What's your primary source of business? And you'll hear people say, I invest a lot in social media ad campaigns. I invest a lot in billboards. I invest a lot in influencer marketing. And yet, if we use tips like the ones we've just discussed, these are tips that are readily available to you. This is a client who has already tested your product. There is nothing more powerful than when they get on their family WhatsApp group and they say, you know what, I tried these guys. Even the language and the descriptions they are going to provide on their testimonial, it is nowhere near the kind of campaign that you would run on a billboard or any alternative platform. So these are some of the things we talk about on the platform. And at this point, I think I'll pause. I could go on and on. As you can tell, these are tips we've used for a while. But I also want to allow the opportunity so that the Q&A also gets its due time. And at that point, I'll hand it over to my colleague, Cynthia, who will take it from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Anyeke. Thank you for such an enlightening session. Thank you to all our participants for taking your time out of your busy schedules to participate with us today and join this learning forum today. It has been such a fantastic and amazing moment. Our speakers have really given us enlightening content, and one of the things that they have really expounded on is how to support a great customer service, as well as how to hire, train, and motivate the customer service team to ensure a very good customer success in your business. And last but not least, they have also shared with us how to grow and scale your sales by hiring appropriately. From the discussions, there's some few pointers that I have gotten. I hope you can highlight a few, but from what I've understood is that we can, with whatever they have shared, we can easily enable ourselves to choose the cultures for our businesses and also to make very informed decisions on whether to hire experienced or inexperienced personnel. And last but not least, how to track performance and also how to get automatic referrals in our business. I'll take you through the Q&A session, and Just before we start, if you, as a participant, there are some questions that have been shared. As a participant, if you feel that you have the knowledge and the experience to respond to some of the questions, please feel free. Let us tap into your knowledge, as we are in here to all learn from each other. And I will start with Irene. A question for you. How do you monitor customer success performance at managerial capacity?
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you so much. How do I monitor customer success performance at a managerial capacity? We have different ways of approaching this, and maybe as a business owner, you can try something if it works for you, because what we've seen that has really, really worked for us, also for me from a managerial position, is mystery shopping. There was this time that we approached different people, and we could send them to a different location just to pose as a customer, ask the questions, just get to observe how they're being served. Because, you know, on a usual basis, some of these customer service representatives are so used to maybe me going to the branch or Elizabeth visiting the branch. But once you have a mystery shopper at the branch, they get to give you that raw and organic feedback. And they'll get to pick some of the things that you as a business owner couldn't have picked. They get to pick the way they are being approached, their professionalism, how are they addressed. When the customer walked right at the counter, but they approached by a way of saying, "Good morning, Mr. Anyoike, how are you? How may I assist you?" Or was the customer service representative just seated and waiting for the customer to ask questions? So those are some of the things that we have really helped us to monitor performance. Still, the same clients will get to pick the tangibles that Mr. Anyoke talked about, your environment. When you're talking about laundry, cleanliness, is your space that clean? And we all know that customers buy you before they get to buy a product. So how are you presentable enough? Are you in uniform? And yes, if you're in your uniform, is it presentable enough? Is it well pressed? Is it well ironed? When it comes to things like product knowledge, are you good at pitching a sale and so on? So that is one of the things that we did see work, and we had to change a few things here and there from that feedback. Another thing that we've seen help us is that direct feedback from clients. After they visited the branch, they usually place a call and say, "Hey, look, Irene, I've been served from this branch, and this particular customer service was excellent. I love the way that she took me through your price list, the way she took me through the way you process your dry cleaning items, the way you process your curtains, and so on." And trust me, Cynthia, some of the feedback that we also get from the branches is, I dropped my clothes last week, and your customer service representative called me, and she did find some cash in one of my items, and she called me immediately and handed over the cash back to me. So those are some of the feedbacks that you get to gauge who are we dealing with at the branch. And the last one that I'll talk about is something that Mr. Wanyoke did challenge me towards the end of last year and part of this year, is now that direct approach, reaching out to the client. And you'll be shocked, Cynthia, how willing clients are willing to give you feedback when you ask for it. In fact, they are always waiting for you to just ask, and they'll be right there to give you that feedback. So through the recorded testimonials, we did approach a few clients, and so many clients were very willing to give us that recorded feedback. We would go around, ask them questions about how the service has been, what stood out for them, and they could go on and on praising on how they like their shirts, how their shirts are well pressed, how their suits are well processed. And something that stood out for us is that they even pick the things that you never imagined they could have picked. We thought that all that that these people are going to talk about is how their items are being processed. But Cynthia, these clients also talked about how our logistics team do approach them during the home pickup and delivery services, how professional they are, how presentable they are, and even our customer service representatives at the branch. They are very professional, they're very eloquent in terms of product knowledge, communication, and so on. So these are some of the things that we've seen, and we went ahead and asked them, can we use these recorded testimonials for our marketing purposes? And the clients were like, why not? Please use that. So this is something that you need to use also to gauge when it comes to gauging performance from a managerial position. And these are some of the things that we've used for marketing. And if you'd like to see most of those recorded video testimonials, you can visit our YouTube channel. We have so many of them. You get to see how clients express themselves and how they are just happy with our product and service. That's my take on that, Cynthia. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Thank you. Let's head to Elizabeth. How do you deal with a customer service representative who is constantly falling behind on targets?
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you for the wonderful question. For people or for the employee who is falling behind the targets or the performance in your business, sometimes we as business owners tend to rush to maybe separate. That's what I've observed. But what would be the right thing to do for you? You tend to find that you book a one-on-one with them. You find out what is happening to them, what they are experiencing. It could be a personal issue. It could be a personal issue that is happening in their personal lives. Also, it could be an issue, maybe they are culturally unfit. Also, it could be an issue of training. Maybe there are gaps in training. They are falling behind. There are things that maybe they did not capture when you are trying to train them. Or maybe you find they are just people who are not motivated. Once you find the grounds for this performance, maybe the targets are out of range for them. You have an unrealistic target. Sometimes we tend to give them these unrealistic targets that they cannot match up with them. Once you identify where the gap is coming from, you get to decide how to proceed. In our case, in our experience, what we have learned, putting them through this 30 days performance improvement plan, get some times to jumpstart them, and you find people excelling and pushing themselves. Also, there is a possibility that these people are, there's something going around if we are following the internet or the conversation happening around the internet. There's something called quiet quitting. People are basically, I'll do whatever is within me. I will not push beyond what I'm expected. If the conversation gets to that point, it's up to you and I as a business owner to arrange for that sitting and prepare to have a discussion whether we want to shake hands and maybe end the relationship, because you cannot keep somebody for your business to continue generating. Maybe you're not hitting the targets, you're still dishing out the salary, the compensation, you're still compensating this person. And you, at the end of the day, you have to recoup your return of investment during the time that you have set out for yourself. India.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Let's head to Mr. Anyeke. In experience, what would you say is the leading cause for the failure of small businesses in the laundry industry, and how would you identify the rightful profile of clients to target?
Oh my God, Cynthia, how long do we have? There are very many big reasons why laundry businesses don't tend to succeed or go beyond the first, second, or even third year. In our experience, of course, there are some causes you would say are leading causes. And I'm also happy to see on the chat, colleagues I've seen, I think it was Erica, ask something about how to go about creating awareness, because those are the things you want to think about when you're starting a business. And often what we see is somebody gets into the laundry business space and they have this vision in their mind. They have this client, they have this avatar of a client that they have created in their mind, who they are going to target. Yet the area or the geography that they are pitching their product does not have the product market fit. So they end up going into an industry, investing very heavily on laundry equipment. And all of us are aware, laundry equipment, dry cleaning equipment, it's not cheap. If you're going to go in on a commercial scale, you're going to put in thousands and thousands of dollars before you get it operational. So one of the biggest mistakes we see happening is somebody goes in very heavy on the plant side, on the equipment side, without paying the commensurate attention to the market side. And even if you have the resources, we normally encourage people from experience, pay a lot of focus, pay a lot of investment on the market side first before you invest in your plant and equipment. And what does this mean? This basically means you want first to get an appreciation of the client. And I'm not in any way suggesting that you should follow the direction or the trajectory that we took. In our case, we first started off with a couple of locations. We did not invest in the equipment at all. In fact, I think by the third or fourth location, we were still outsourcing the bulk of the laundry to an alternative service provider who handled the cleaning and allowed us the opportunity to understand what kind of a market were we serving. What exactly did our customer want? Were we dealing with a retail customer? Were we looking at an institutional customer? Were we looking at a hybrid situation? Were we addressing a residential market? Was it a business district market, or was it a mix of the above? Once you have identified these parameters, then you're able to say, based on the market that I'm serving and based on something that I've tested, then I think I need to set up a workshop that looks like this. So you are not gambling when it comes to investing your resources. I tell people, even if you have somebody who can handle your back end, invest first in understanding the market. And to Erica's question, you want to use cost-effective tools for building awareness. Social media is a big one. There are very effective ways of building on social media. But again, I will not abandon my earlier point. That client who first visits you, you want to completely optimize the sale value from that client, including their potential for generating referrals for you. Kindly do not forget to make that follow-up call. Even if they are trickling in at one customer per week or one or two customers every 2 weeks, those customers are gold. And you want to make sure that you impress on them as much as you can, and you deliver the cleaning in a way that leaves them absolutely no choice but to send you referrals. So those are some of the things that we have seen arising by way of mistakes. And also people just not structuring their businesses right in terms of their business model. I like to say laundry is an industry that borrows very heavily from the airline and even the shipping industries, because they have this approach where they have a central hub where a lot of if it's aviation where your planes are based, and then you fly to different destinations. It's not any different for laundry. So as opposed to business owners who come in and they set up a laundry unit, a cleaning facility at multiple locations, it has a very different cost bearing when you compare it with the person who sets up a central cleaning facility with collection locations in different geographies. That the cost matrix for those two players becomes very different, and it dictates how long and how much runway you have before you start realizing your margins. And then lastly, the things that my colleagues spoke about, which is the cultural fit. I like pushing and challenging laundry business owners. When you have somebody who you've hired, you tasked them to sell, they did hit targets, or for whatever reason they have interpersonal challenges, they're not getting along with colleagues, please do not hesitate. You're the one who brought them on board. And we are told when a bus is moving to a certain destination, not everybody who gets on board is willing or able to get to the destination. So it is your job as the leader, as the business owner, to offboard somebody who you feel is not a cultural fit for your organization, or somebody who you feel is not aligned to the sales strategy that you've designed for your organization. So those are the three that we see people struggling with. And there's a much deeper topic on that subject that we get into on the laundry business platform. Again, there are courses there. There's free content. I would encourage anyone who is on the audience today to check it out. Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you, Cynthia. For laundry businesses, allow me to start with to share an experience we had in 2022. In 2022, our customer service was, how can I say it? Laundries came in and spooked quite a number of our team. The experienced one, they were poached. 50% of our members were poached from our business and planted somewhere else. That tells you the experience, the training that was happening on our end was enticing enough for other people to come and plow from our business. Now, answering the question, part of the laundry business training and running in business, you find that unfortunately nothing much is happening in the industry to train the people enough that you can say they have per se the laundry training. Only quite some few colleges and institutions that are offering that. And when they are offering that, it's just a little bit of it. You find they are coming just segmented. They come for 2 months or 3 months and they go. That tells you the efficiency that we have in the industry. But for us, what has worked for us is the member of staff that we have. The word of mouth that they said out there, you'll be surprised even the people who have left, even those who left in 2022, 2023, they are still sending candidates in our way. The database that we have, we don't go out there advertising. We just have to say something internally in our maybe monthly meetings, like that, those we held every month, that we are looking for these certain candidates, these are the criteria, these are the qualities. And within a month, you find that the database keep growing and growing. Whenever you need to refill a position, you just go back and start now sieving through what you want, what you need. You arrange for an interview. So I would advise from experience, the word of mouth, the customers that you are serving, they will be your brand ambassador out there. They will refer even the ladies, the gentlemen that they want to experience the service that you are offering through serving you through the business. But also, most of us tend to fall to the trap of involving close friends and maybe families. When you are pushed to the wall, you get to rush in and bring a family member without proper policies and guidelines on how to involve them in the business. What has worked for us over the years is that word of mouth, and also not rushing to hire the last minute. Keep looking way ahead, like a position may be filled, looking for those. Sometimes we business owners have that instinct of somebody who is just about to fall off. You can pick that up and start looking for somebody to fill in early. These people that we're working with in the business, they'll be your source of referral for you.
Thank you to the participants for taking your time out of your to join us today. As we proceed, I see there are some participants who are asking about the laundry business learning platform. Maybe a minute to Mr. Anyeke to tell us what it is about and how it is beneficial to our business owners.
Thank you, Cynthia. I'll try to keep it as brief as possible in the interest of time. And if it's okay, I'll also combine my response with a question I've seen here from Mr. Ombado. He's talking about financial responsibility. How do we promote it as a culture among the customer service representatives? I hope I've understood the question. It is responsibility as far as the managing finances are concerned at the location. So I'll try and combine the two. To your question, the platform is a learning platform. It is curated and targeted to laundry business owners in different parts of the world. And in there, you get all kinds of content, including the questions that have been raised on this chat box. I can perhaps use the example of an email we received last week. There's a lady who wrote us from Kampala, Uganda, and having gone through the course, she gave an interesting testimonial. She has a 2-branch location. She has a 2-branch business in the heart of Kampala, and she's been thinking about how to go about this hiring for sales. And she tells a story of how after navigating the course, she finds herself not just able to leave her attendant to work independently, but it's also afforded her quite a bit of time to focus on her young family. She also speaks about how now she's able to mindfully make decisions around picking a location, determining whether a location is going to be profitable or not. She's yet to pick up equipment, and she shared how it's now much more clearer. She has much more clarity around decisions to do with how do I go about picking dry cleaning equipment, how do I pick wet cleaning equipment, and that's what the course is about. It's also a forum that has community where people come in and interact in pretty much the same way that we have interacted this evening, where you can ask a question depending on where you're at, which stage you're at in your business, and you get someone else, whether it's in your community or even a completely different part of the world, able to offer you the support that you require. To Simon's question, maybe as we conclude, this financial responsibility culture, you want to catch that very early. And if I've understood the question correctly, if you're speaking to how the attendant manages the amounts of money that are received at your location by way of payment for services rendered, you want to be very clear, both in your SOP and even in your example. For example, how do you deal with cases of financial impropriety? How do you manage integrity? How is integrity or lack thereof perceived within your organization? Where there are gaps in integrity, is it promptly punished? Is it excused? Do you, as a leader, do you turn a blind eye? And that has to be clear both in your documentation and even in your action, in the way you deal with it. And equally, where there is clear, demonstrable, above average levels of integrity, like the one my colleague Irene alluded to. She gave a very good example of what happens when somebody finds, for example, money in the client's pocket. That's a situation where the attendant needs to make a quick decision. If they go the extent of making the disclosure, as you have provided in your SOP, you need to come out very strongly and recognize that action and reward it as a way of pointing to the light that your organization is trying to pursue. So it is you as the leader, again, to set the pace, to set the trajectory, so that the team can pick up from that. And that does not matter whether you have 1 location or 20 locations. It is incumbent upon the leader. We also have now other at the tactical level where we also push alternative channels for financial accountability. We have laundry is generally a cash-based business, but in our part of the world, we also have non-cash or what we call cashless options. And this allows you as the business owner to accept payments from clients through different channels. We also use a rotation approach in terms of having staff move from one location to another in terms of responsibility over different periods of time. And this allows you also to plug in where potential financial impropriety might be present. We could get deeper into this subject at a different session, but in the interest of time, I will stop there. If you want to engage more, like I said, you're welcome to drop us a note. We're also happy to engage on the community platform that I have just spoken to. Thank you very much, Cynthia.
Thank you, Mr. Anyeke. Thank you to all our speakers. As we finalize, note that this has been an engaging session and we are excited to have been with you. We see our participants are really sending out their positive comments. We are so humbled as we continue with the forum. Please note that we shall have another session on the 27th of June, 2024. Feel free to join us then. Before we conclude, please note that we have shared links on the chat box that are our socials. Make sure to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as the X platform to ensure that you get the most updated content. To all our participants, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today. To all our speakers, thank you for such enlightening content and hope to see you soon. From all of us at Laundry Business Learning, bye-bye.
So actually, I'm very impressed and I'm very happy with what Sam in particular has done for this, calling over people who are aspiring to have laundries, and Sam putting in a session to train them is very good of him. It's very noble. And today's session especially was the parts that I was very impressed with was especially customer service, how to handle it. I am very impressed with how you guys, Laundromat, has got its systems in place, and I give it to your team, honestly.
Thank
you. So very good thing. They've missed a lot, especially for someone, not only for people who want to start a laundry, but also people who've got existing laundries. This was a very good place to network and also to learn new things, thinking outside the box. You guys have honestly outdone it by thinking outside the box and putting in systems where people would have not thought of. So I was very happy with today's session.
Hi, my name is Sam Wanyoike. I have operated laundry businesses for over 20 years and now share all of my technical, entrepreneurial, and business insights through this online course, Laundry Business Learning. This course and virtual mentorship program is designed to practically help aspiring business owners to begin or advance their businesses. The course will walk you through everything from selecting a profitable location, the right laundry equipment, marketing your service, attracting the talent that you need to succeed, and more, all delivered in quality video instruction. For only $199, you get lifetime access to a community that is willing to give back to those who are seriously interested in avoiding costly startup mistakes in the laundry game, but do not know where to go. Stop choosing between expensive laundry equipment or good mentorship and get both. We will expose you to members who have quit their day job and continue to attract a high-paying laundry clientele, offering them true freedom. Click the link below to join other entrepreneurs just like you who inside our course are learning all the ropes that they need to succeed. See you inside.